Hey, John. Hey, Peter. Hey, Denisa. Hey, Armin. Good trickling in. Austin. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Well, the workshop or show, or however you want to see it. Let me just find my restream accounts. Anya, we're already restreaming, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We are.
All right, beautiful. Well, welcome to the workshop. We have the pleasure of having Simon and Francis from Better, Bolder, Braver on the webinar or the show or the workshop. And we'll talk about what is your coaching style and how do you find out how you coach? Because a lot of people want to coach, or lots of people have written a book, but they have no idea how to approach the actual coaching, because it's really about transformation. And this is also why we started UpCoach in the first place, because we want to transform people's lives. And initially I had an online course and only 7% of people complete the course, which was really bugging me, because I was doing this for purpose, or like, this was my passion project, was not to make money. I just wanted to transform people's lives and help them to do that. And only 7% completed this. And so this was really bugging me. So I switched to cohort-based coaching, and I achieved a 93% completion rate. So it's really about transforming people's lives. This is why we've built UpCoach. And Francis and Simon will help you to find your style that really fit for you to transform people's lives. So I'll pass the mic over to Simon and Francis.
Thanks, David. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. I was going to say, Denisa, it'd be so nice to see your face. So it's great to see you. And first of all, massive thanks to David, our new friend David, and community member also, and also Anya, for having us on this show. So I want to invite you all to check in if you're here with us live. With one word that, well, actually two words. One is sort of how you're arriving to this space in a word, but also if you had to identify a music style that you thought encapsulated your personality, what would it be off the top of your head? So don't worry, we're not going to hold you to it for the rest of your life, but maybe how are you feeling today in a music style, or how do you think your coaching would sound if it had a soundtrack? So while you're thinking about that and checking in, Anya, can I please share my screen if I haven't already got oh, nice, David. How about you? There you go. This was such a good check-in. We'll have to have a little D&B chat another time then.
You should be able to share your screen. So
okay, sweet.
If it doesn't work, let me know. And then
Irish folk. You see, this is why it's such a good check-in, because you get such a good sense of what someone's like from their music. Okay, so what I'm going to do while we're checking in is I'm going to share with you a video that some of you may have seen, because it's the Loom that David recorded to try to entice you all to this workshop. And I feel, I'll explain why afterwards, but I feel this Loom is a really good place for us to start talking about what is your coaching style. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully there's nothing private behind this Zoom. And oh, it's my WhatsApp. Lovely. And there's my husband and child. Okay, and there's my embarrassing diary. Sorry, everybody. Stop sharing and try and work out the right place to go first. Here we go. Right.
I love the flea treatment, by the way.
The what? Flea treatment? Oh God, yeah, boring. Right, here we go. Is everyone able to see my screen? Yes, obviously.
If you have a skill to share, if you are a coach, if you've written a book, or if you're just really good at something and you want to teach others to do the same thing, because I actually think this is one of the core reasons why we're here, our personal mission to learn things and then share it with others. There's so many different ways on how to do that. And a lot of people get stuck with this. Even people that they write a book, but then they don't know what to do next and like how to actually really transform people. With UpCoach, you can do all that. You can have a community, you can do one-on-one coaching, you can do cohort-based coaching, you can have a course. There's so many different things you can do, but what's your style? And we're doing a webinar with Francis and Simon from Bigger, Bolder, Braver, and they will help you to figure out what is your coaching style. How can you deliver your knowledge in the best way that really fits to you? I personally have a community in managing happiness, but I do not really enjoy maintaining a community. I love cohort-based coaching. I love forum style get-togethers. I love one-on-ones, but community is not really my thing. And a lot of coaches are doing maybe only one-on-one, and they have thought about like, how can I leap into doing a cohort-based thing or record a course or systematize my stuff more so I can reach more people. And we'll dig in we will dig into all of that on this webinar, which I'm gonna link the link below in the time. And I think this could really help you to elevate your coaching game and to really figure out what is your style so you can really thrive in your zone of genius. Cool. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you, David. David did not know that I was going to be sharing that at the beginning of this workshop until about 2 minutes ago. So, has everyone checked in the chat? I can see 3 people. Looking forward to everyone else's check-ins. How are you arriving and what is your music style? The reason I wanted to share that video is because I think there's a really important conversation we need to have. Nina, Jill, hi, friends from the Better, Bolder, Braver community. You're welcome to put your videos on if you're happy to and join us. If not, that's all good. So I think there's a really important discussion that we have at the beginning of this workshop about style. I'm just going to introduce myself because I realized I haven't done that. And then I'm going to hand over to Simon to introduce themselves briefly, and then we'll get cracking. So, hi, my name is Francis. I am one of the co-founders of the Better, Bolder, Braver community for coaches, helping coaches to put themselves and their coaching businesses out there with more clarity, confidence, joy, and creativity. And I'll hand over to my co-founder and friend, Simon, to introduce themselves before we kick off.
Hey everybody, my name's Simon. As Francis said, yes, I'm the other co-founder of Better, Bolder, Braver. I'm also the author of the book Reframing Marketing, which I wrote recently. So yeah, I think we're here today because we've been sort of talking with David for a while now about the different ways in which coaches can kind of put themselves out there and connect with their clients. And I think as part of the kind of UpCoach community, I guess we'll call it for the sake of a word, unless you have another word for it, but that kind of, you're all there using that product, you're in there using the system, and you're using it, as David said, to make changes in people's lives. And for us, marketing is all about helping people go on that journey from where they are now to where they want to be. And we know that the space in between that is the magic bit that you provide and you either guide people with or work with them on. And UpCoach is part of that process. So I think what we're going to try and do today is to give you a sort of maybe a slightly different perspective on that marketing, to show you how you can use marketing to help people go on that journey, and hopefully to go on that journey with you in a number of different ways, using a number of different tools at your disposal. So yes, there you go. That's my intro.
Thank you. So, style. What is your coaching style? What are we even talking about? Simon and I had a conversation before this, and we think that there's 3 different things we're talking about when we talk about coaching style. So there's your coaching method, how you actually coach people, and what is the style of that. There's the style of your delivery. There's the way that you do that coaching. And as David says in the video, systematizing, or in our language, productizing the delivery of your style of coaching, which has its own style. It has its own design. The products that you build are a design for how to deliver. your coaching. And then the third thing is, how do you talk about those two things, your method and your product, out loud? So that's what we would like to focus on today. And the reason I wanted to show you David's video is because I think it beautifully encapsulates what I'm talking about. So David has an approach, a style to coaching people, to helping people. He has a designed platform that delivers what it is he's trying to achieve on a bigger picture level. And he has clarity about what he does and doesn't want to build moving forward, or what he, you know, enjoys having built now and delivering. And then he has a style which mirrors that energy and that excitement and that hope in how he brings it to us. And in this way, it was a video. And we've got the lovely sort of meta unconscious style of David, which is the glasses mirroring the windows and the green light mirroring the plant and the chairs. And so we get this impression of him that he's this wildly energetic, fabulous person, grounded in a contained, stylish, don't cry, David, beautiful environment. But that style, the style of David, you can tell is carried through from, you know, the sort of playful but grounded way in which he does help people, the playful but grounded way in which he's built a platform, which is his product, how he delivers the help, and the playful but grounded way in which he markets himself, and the energy that we get from the video. Would we have got that information if David had just done a quick post or a blog post? Or probably not. So just to recap what we're talking about, when we talk about what is your coaching style, is your coaching method, the products that you're building to deliver, and how you put yourself out there, which is what we call marketing. So I would like to invite people, if they would be willing, who are here live, to volunteer, because we'd like for this to be an open discussion if possible, what lands for them in what I'm saying, and whether or not just from that they have a sense of what their coaching style is. What do you gravitate to when you think about coaching style? Is it your method? Is it your products? Or is it your marketing? Nicola.
Hello, everyone. Just a second.
Hey, Nicola.
I'm from
Hey, you are.
Croatia. And my coaching style, yes, I thought about that. I have few ones, but maybe the favorite for me is 3 principles, because it is simple. Everything is thought, mind, and consciousness. And I can explain also this with present moment, with we need always to organize the mind. We need to biohack or some bioengineering and connectiveness. That's how I see things. And everything is, like you said before, everything is about how to create transformation from one point A to the point B. And if we know exactly where we are or where our current is, and where is this, what is the outcome and the result, then we understand the path and the bridge between point A and point B. And that is, we need this clarity. And that's our service, our product. We need to help someone how to get on other side of the bridge. And the best way is when you speak from your experience, when you know exactly how was that for you, when you walk the talk, when you are present, when you have this clarity. And of course, this simplicity is so important, that you understand the simple steps that you can make, that your client really see and believe you with, and that you get the trust between, and that's part of this good rapport. That's my approach. It's very simple, and it's my service.
Yeah, that's really good. I think you've touched on a number of really interesting ideas there. So thank you very much for sharing. It's really good.
Thank you.
I think one of the things that we often see when we look at that overall view of marketing, so where the client is now and where they want to be, because of coaches you've been on that journey with people before, so you have the luxury, let's say the privilege of knowing where they want to be is like. You know what it feels like, not for them, but you have had the experience of being with someone who's been there. They don't know, so they're at the beginning of the journey. And sometimes what people focus on when they're doing their marketing is just this is what it's going to be like when you're there, and that is an important element of marketing. And I think it can also be the kind of you need to be here for it to have worked, and that can feel quite overwhelming to a client. So what we like to do is to try and break marketing down into some smaller steps. And just to clarify, Nicola, this isn't like a response to what you're saying. This is more of a thought that's evolving for me. I didn't want you to feel like I'm critiquing what you were saying. But essentially what I'm getting at is if we try and take clients on that journey in our marketing, it's a lot to get across. It can be really overwhelming. And you can go from you're here now, you could be here. All you need to do is this. It's so simple. Why can't you see that? Why can't you understand that? And sometimes that's why marketing can feel quite frustrating, because the client can't see what you can see so clearly. So what we try and do with marketing is to break it down into some smaller steps that clients can take. So the first of all those steps are, well, how can you get them to think about something slightly differently? So what is it about what they're thinking, feeling, or doing right now that they might like to consider differently? And then once you've got them thinking, feeling, or doing something different, just with like an Instagram post or a LinkedIn post or a little video or a podcast, where you just throw an idea out that makes someone go, "Whew, I'd never thought of it like that before. That's really interesting. Do you know what? I just, whoa, it just completely changes it." And then they're like, where can I find out more about this? So then you take them on that next step of the journey, and the next step of the journey, and the next step of the journey. And I think as you can build up that journey, you build the trust. They get to know you. They get to like what you're all about. They like the way you're explaining things. And as you go on that journey with them, you can offer different things to them. So to kind of link it back into a little bit what we were talking about at the top, as people go on that journey, you can offer them different things in order to help them get to the place they need to get to, so that they think, do you know what? Working with Mostyn is the most obvious thing I can do right now. I've read the blogs, I've watched the videos, I've binged on the Netflix of Mostyn. I am ready to do this. When do we start? That's where you want to get a client to, so that they feel empowered, they feel like excited, and they're ready to invest. Because obviously, as we know, coaching isn't just a click here, do that, get results process. It takes time, and it takes effort, emotional and concentration, and cognitive work that you need the client to invest in if it's going to work. So our style of marketing is very much about getting the client to the place where they feel ready to start coaching, rather than what can we sell them in order to get a quick win, to get that quick buck through the door. So as David mentioned in the video, you may have written a book, you may have a course, you may be doing group work, you may be doing one-to-one, and all of that fits, and all of those can be useful along that journey. And I think for different coaches, they'll work in different ways. There's no sort of one size fits all. But what I would invite you to do is think about where your client is right now and what information do they need before they're ready to say yes. And that essentially is what your marketing is all about. Because once they say yes, then it's over to you. It's all about coaching. And then we go off into the coaching journey. So I think, yeah, what Nicola shared was really interesting, because he sort of encapsulated a whole load of those thoughts, and I hope I've expanded on those. Has anybody got any questions following that, or thoughts that have come up for them based on what you've heard so far? Yeah, Mostyn.
I found all that they're really helpful in terms of actually, you're aware of where point B might be, but your potential client doesn't necessarily know what that feels like. From my perspective, most of my methods and my delivery are both quite simple in that, if I start on delivery first, my delivery is one-on-one, either in person or remote. And it is normally 90 minutes, and it's to senior executives, and the company is paying for their coaching. And in terms of the method, it's a mix of what I would say is traditional coaching techniques plus my own experience. So I'm not a pure coach that doesn't provide advice or views as part of the sessions. One of the reasons clients come to me is because of the experience that I've got, so they can benefit from that. So I think that's quite normal for executive coaches, similar to what I'm doing. But I think this question about how do you get somebody ready in order to say yes to coaching and breaking it down into those steps, what's the first step, like you mentioned, Simon? I think for them it's often they're getting a nudge from somebody internally in the company, and it really then depends on how coaching is viewed within the company as to whether this is real positive benefits that you're getting as a result of being senior in an organization, and that your company wants to invest in you, which is a really positive way of thinking about it. The alternative, which I think is probably more common in the UK market at the moment versus the US market, is there's some sort of remedial action here that you need to take in order to be as we want you to be in your current role. And I think that context for the decision making for them as to whether they want to proceed is quite important.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Mostyn. I think there's an interesting point I want to pick up on here, and that is, I think you nicely articulated it. It's about meeting that client where they are now. And I think rather than necessarily, and this isn't a critique of what you're saying, but rather than focusing on what is coaching and why is it going to do what you need it to do, it's just imagining them sat behind their desk. What are they thinking and feeling right now? And what little connection could you help them make? What little idea could you join together that might make them go, oh, that's interesting? And from there, they then learn that is a thing that coaching can help with. So it's almost like you kind of keep coaching hidden a little bit out of the way so that they don't get tripped up by the word coaching. But what you do is you get them thinking, and then you say, if that idea, that little thought you just had got you excited or energized or whatever the word might be for your client, we can do more of that, and more of that is called coaching. And then they're like, oh, cool. And they make that jump themselves. And sometimes that can be a really great way of sort of getting messages across without necessarily actually having to talk about coaching at all.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Most people, if you say, do you want some coaching, most people don't put their hand up. No, completely agree. But if you can explain the benefits on that first step, and it's not necessarily talking about it from a coaching perspective, I think that's really good. Yeah,
I think there's some real fun to be had there, some really juicy content. There's some fantastic ideas that a lot of people are pondering. They don't even know they're pondering it. And you as a coach know how to ask those questions. The kind of people you work with, that first conversation you have with them, maybe before they enroll in the coaching, what are some of the things they're thinking? What are some of those questions? And even just answering those up front can be a great way of getting someone to take that first sort of jump into exploring the idea. And then a lot of people would not go much further than that on their own necessarily, because otherwise they probably would have already gone that far on their own. But as soon as they learn that there's someone there who can support them and guide them, then they're like, okay, I feel more confident in getting there. And that's where explaining the rest of that journey, that kind of, okay, well, if you're interested here, what if we then went here and here and here, and then you ended up in a place like this, and people can really start to see that. And I also appreciate that for a lot of coaches, that method isn't linear. Sometimes it is, okay, well, I have 4, let's call them circles of topics. And what we do is we start with this one, and then we see which one we link to next. or it could be, well, we have a big sort of soup and we pour in the ideas, and we see in every session we add something more to the soup until we're happy with what we've made at the end. You know, there's loads of ways you can explain that method. It doesn't have to be linear, it doesn't have to be a diagram. It can be a metaphor, or, you know, like, yeah, baking a cake is one I've seen used quite a few recipes, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Mostyn. John Paul.
Something that's sprung to mind is the better, I think, Chinese metaphor of a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And I think what we're focused on as coaches is how we take people the journey of 1,000 miles. And if you show people the journey of 1,000 miles, they go, no, I don't want to go there. And what we should be saying is, like, if you go there, there's a lake. And if you go there, there's a waterfall, and there's a fantastic view from there. Go look at that. And we know how to take you there. We don't have to say the whole 1,000-mile journey. We just, because people will get daunted by that. What we have to show them is the beautiful things on the way, and then support them to get going. And just give them an indicator, not too much. Is that a good way of putting it?
I'm wondering how this connects to products as being things that you show them along the way. So I want to just loop back to Mostyn and say, you offer one-to-one stuff. How are you, I'm interested to know how you're using UpCoach to deliver, or, you know, how are you using UpCoach as and were you clear on the one-to-one was the right product for you when you started using UpCoach, if you use UpCoach?
I don't use UpCoach at the moment, Francis.
Okay. How did you hear about
Not
this?
yet.
Not yet. How did you hear about this workshop, just out of interest then?
I think I'm signed up to the UpCoach mailing list, and I've attended some other webinars before from UpCoach. So yeah, I think that's how I signed up.
Okay, cool. So anyone else here that's considering a different combination of products, or not sure if it's going to be one-to-one or group or whatever, like, can someone else here feed into this conversation? Because it's quite interesting to think about the experiences that we're giving people along the path, as John Paul says, by way of products, and working out how they serve others but also serve us as the guides. Can anyone share a product that they offer as a coach, or 2 or 3 products? Or I'll pick on you. Okay, John.
I can also jump in.
All right,
But if John wants to go.
John,
Yeah,
what
John,
are you
please go.
what are you up to at the moment with your coaching? I think John's muted. So we'll go to Peter. Hi, Peter. Can you share with us?
Hi there. Not much is what I'm up to at the moment, which is why I'm looking on a marketing course, I suppose. My background's in healthcare, and so I spent 40 years of my life interrogating people to try and find out what was wrong with them. And actually, there is a lot of listening in that. So I'm not bad at the listening bit, but I'm pretty rubbish at the not talking bit. Though, you know, improving. My problem is that my market is very much people who are very stressed by what they're going through, and in healthcare, a lot of them are currently on strike because you know, they want more money. So actually trying to sell them something that they don't know that they actually need yet is a big ask. So what I think I'm offering is something that would be valuable to them. But taking that first step it's a bit like being a recruitment consultant, trying to recruit somebody to a job that they didn't know they actually wanted. And so, you know, you're trying to offer what you've got to somebody who doesn't know they need it. And I understand, you know, that yes, you've got to draw them in somehow. And that's the challenge, isn't it? And also who's going to pay for it? Because, you know, the health service is not great at paying for stuff. I mean, it doesn't pay for stuff that's therapeutic, let alone, you know, regarded by HR departments as being a bit touchy-feely and a bit, you know, beyond what they would normally do. So, you know, I'm a frustrated offer of a product that nobody seems to want. That's where I am.
Great. Well done. You're in the right place. Number one, thank you for joining Better Bolder Braver. I'm delighted you're there, because number two, please connect with John Paul, because you guys are going to have a right old
Okay.
banter about the NHS and lots of fun. John Paul is also in our community, so you guys can buddy up. That's lovely.
This is yeah. Okay, got him.
Number three, this is the perfect juncture to invite Simon to do a whistle-stop tour of something that we like to call the journey of consciousness. And Simon is going to share their screen with you and take you through the levels of awareness which Peter Brunskill is talking to, because it will land with all of you. And once we've done that, we're going to focus down again on product, which you'll find is one of the levels of awareness. And we will loop back to UpCoach, therefore. Solution aware, and then, well, you'll see. Anyway, Simon will do an overview and it will all become clear. So hold on to your seats, everybody. Are you ready, Simon?
I am. What a build up. Wow, here we go. Okay. So yeah, I think first of all, Peter, just before we get stuck into this, I completely hear what you're saying. We hear this a lot, so you're not alone. There are a lot of people out there who are in that position where they feel like, I'm trying to offer something that people don't even know that they need or don't even know exists. And there's a kind of famous saying that there are only two people who you can market to when you're selling yourself as a coaching business. That is people who already have a coach and people who have no idea what coaching is. And there's a minute, thin slither of a line in between of those people who've heard the word coaching and are looking. So this is why trying to sell coaching is really hard work. So what we're going to do in this little next section is sort of hopefully explain a little bit about a different way we can approach it. So yes, here we go. Have we got the screen there with all the levels on? Yeah, good stuff. So this is the 5 levels of awareness. So this is the 5 things, the 5 levels that people go through on their journey towards becoming a client with you. So they start their journey at unaware. So at this point, they are, like I said earlier, they're going about their day-to-day business unaware that their thoughts, feelings, and actions are anything that they might want to do something about. They may not realize that their lived experience is not what everybody else's lived experience is. They may just think that's how everybody is. At some point, they will become problem aware. Now, we use problem in a loose sense. We needed a word to put in the graph, and problem was that word. We use problem not as a judgment of where they are or what they're thinking, feeling, or doing, but more to kind of illustrate a bit of an agitation. They sense change. So they suddenly realize that what they're thinking, feeling, or doing might be something they'd like to change. They're not necessarily sure how to do that or why to do that or what that involves. They just make that jump between not knowing anything about their lived experience to making a jump that the realization that their lived experience might be something they'd like to change. Some people will just sit there for ages. They'll just be like, yeah, okay, there might be something I want to do something about. And they might sit there for a while, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, years, perhaps, until suddenly they become aware that there is a way for them to make that change. There is a journey that they can go on from where they are now to where they want to be. And that is what we call the solution. So that is how they frame what they perceive the solution to be. So they're thinking, well, I'm here now and I'd like to be over there. I'd like to be thinking, feeling, and doing things like that. And I understand that there is a way for me to get from where I am now to where I want to be. The next thing they're going to look for is someone to guide them. They're going to look for a way to make that happen. So some people will try and do it on their own. Some people will be quite happy to just give it a go. And they may go through that again for weeks, months, years even, before they think, do you know what? I really need someone to guide me. And that's where they're looking for a product, shall we say. They're looking for a wrapper around that solution that makes them feel contained, held, and supported. That could be one-to-one work. It could be group work. It could be a video course. There's a number of different ways that that fits together. And at that point, they then go, do you know what? I'm ready to do this. I'm invested, I'm ready to enroll in the process of that product. And that's when they become most aware. Now, for people at this stage, really all they need to know is, well, when do we start? How can I make the first step in that journey? So when we think about making our marketing work, we need to do this the other way round. So we need to build the journey backwards. So we need to set out, if you imagine climbing a mountain, if you're sat at the bottom of the mountain trying to convince people to go to the top of the mountain, and you're saying, hey, would you want to come with me to the top of this mountain? I'm not quite sure what the top looks like or how you get there just yet, but I'm sure we'll work it out on the way. You're not going to have many people come with you. However, if you've got a clear path for people to follow, you've got a nice map at the bottom, you've got somewhere to point people, and you can stand at the bottom pointing people up the mountain all day long. So we start with that first step. What is it that you want people to do in order to get started? And it's the most common thing that is missing from people's websites. And typically this is, well, book a call with me. Let's chat. Let's have that discovery call. Let's see if we're the right fit. It's super simple. Your website essentially just needs to have some way of people getting in touch with you on it. That is very basic. Before that, people need to understand how it is that you are going to help them get where they want to go. So what is your product offering? How can they interact with you in a way that's going to get them where they want to go? And that's your product. So again, you may start off with one product, maybe just one-to-ones, maybe group work. You may decide to have a community. You may decide to write a book. There's lots of different things in product, and we can explore that a little bit more in a moment. Then what we need to explain is that solution. And that solution is ideally separate from the product. The reason that that solution is separate from the product is it means that someone can truly consider if the work you are asking them to do, the work you are outlining, is something they're ready to enroll in, without it being how much, how long, how fast. All of those considerations come in product. What we need them to do before that is to enroll in just the concept of, is this journey a journey you even want to go on? Because only once you're enrolled in that journey are you ready to consider the product. And it means you can really ethically talk about your product all day long. So right now I'm doing this. I'm telling you our solution. This is the 5 levels of awareness. This is our journey of consciousness. It's how we explain marketing. There is a guide on our website that explains all of this. There's no product attached to it whatsoever. It's just how we do marketing, and it's how we know that when coaches do marketing like this, it works and it feels fun and exciting and engaging for the people listening. So that's the kind of behind the curtain look. The next thing we can do is we can start talking about those enlightening moments. So if you're not sleeping very well, did you know it might be because you're stressed? That kind of thing. You're joining together those concepts that people might not have realized. You're explaining a little bit more about them. And then you're saying, if you want to know more about how that journey works, then you can go to the solution. And if you like the sound of that solution, then you can go to the product. And this is how I can help. And if you're ready to start, then this is how we get started. So you can see how that journey flows. And in the last bit of marketing, the bit that we normally see and the bit we think is where we start is actually the unaware stage. And that is essentially where you're trying to get people inspired with those ideas. It's where you're sparking off that concept of, like, it's what we call the scroll stoppers. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that before. And then, of course, from unaware, they can go right up that journey that you've already got laid out. So it means that when you're actually starting to do your marketing on things like social media, or you're doing email marketing, you meet someone at a networking event, you can just share with them a blog, an idea. You can share with them a concept. You're not trying to sell them a program. You're not trying to sell them a course. You're just saying, hey, this sounds like where you are right now. I've got a blog about that, or I've got a video about that, a podcast about that. Do you want to know more about it? The other thing is, it makes you really easy to refer and recommend. Because if I'm saying, I'm going to recommend this coach to you, I'm going to send you a page and it's a 6-week course and it's this big money investment. That's really hard to share without having to do a lot of legwork. Whereas if you can share an idea with someone further down that journey, you can sort of share that idea or concept, it makes you much easier to refer, because you can say, hey, look, this blog that I read of Mostyn's really changed my mindset. It got me thinking in a different way. I worked with them for 6 months, absolutely got me where I wanted to go. But I think this idea resonates with where you are now. You can share that content all day long as a client, as someone even who just knows you. It's particularly good if you go to a lot of networking events. This sort of content is really good. So that was a whirlwind tour of the journey of consciousness. I am aware that was super quick. I will post in the chat now the long guide that we have on our website that I mentioned, so you can read it at your leisure and revisit it. Does anybody have any
Share it
questions?
with others. Yes, I have some. I
Sure.
really love how you lay this out and how you work backwards, and then kind of like going backwards and figuring out how to create content for the different stages. I think this is brilliant. It's really cool. It made me think of something similar in terms of these different stages that people go through. This is from a presentation I did in Kiev 2017, long time ago. So it's like different stages, like the awareness, and this become customer centric or die. So this is like the purchase process in B2B, or in I guess my focus was B2B. So people are aware, then they put you into consideration, and then they have the buying intent, and then they purchase. And this is where most sales, this is like, where the salespeople stop caring, or a lot of companies stop caring. It was like, hey, they bought, like now, deal with it, right? So kind of like how I felt with my online course, people purchased and then only 7% completed, so it's like, and then some companies give support, take care of people afterwards. And some companies or coaches push their customers a little further, so they give them a really good service, so they become loyal. And some push them even a little further, and they turn them into advocates. And there's like multiple ways in how you can turn them into advocates: by giving them swag, kind of like little stickers for their phones, or like things to remind them of like staying in there. I have these gratitude rocks to people, like, lots of little do to remind people of the mindset that should be, whatever this relates to your coaching. But if you figure out this, that you keep people longer, that you actually take care of them, so you transform their lives, and then you give them the tools, for example, swag, that other people ask them, like, hey, what's this stone? Like, what's this t-shirt? What's this sticker? And then they have the opportunity to talk about you and your coaching business. Because people love sharing things that help them, that are good. Back in Stone Age times, where I can tell you, like, hey, Simon, eat these berries, they're yummy, don't eat these, they make you sick. Then I raise in I guess social capital, right? I become more important in your viewpoint because I provide value to you. So it's deeply ingrained in us that we want to do this, but we need the trigger. I will not start talking about my amazing business coach out of the blue, but if there's context, if somebody asks, like, hey, what's this? And this ties back to my business coach, then I have the opportunity to share. So just want to point this out, that once you get people into your system and you really transform their lives, and then you give them the tools to share, then you create this loop of like getting more and more people in the door. And this is also why I want to have as many people as possible in my program, because then I can I want to transform as many people as possible. This is why I didn't want to do one-on-one coaching, because then I can only impact this individual. I didn't want to do just the pure course, because this doesn't really work. At least I could not make it work. So I went to cohort-based coaching, because then I can have like eight people in the cohort. And I went one step further by systematizing it and kind of, making it like an 8-week program where people watch videos beforehand. So it becomes very easy for somebody who went through the course once to become a guide or coach, by just like taking another small course and learning how to become a guide themselves. And then they can also go out there and share this with others, and, kind of like almost like an MLM for good, to kind of really spread this and impact even more people. So but I'm a systemization nerd, and also for me it was important because I'm very busy, and I want to remove myself as much as possible from the picture, so others can take that and roll with it. Just a few thoughts I'll up now.
I really love this, and this is exactly, I think, what This is the bit that Better Bolder Braver and UpCoach work best together to try to show, because what Simon and I are trying to do is get people to a point of clarity and delivery about what they're trying to gift to the world, but in mind of their own limits, boundaries, needs, values, and capacity as an individual, so that they can build a coaching business and have a work and work-life balance that sort of fits their needs but delivers what they want to the people that they love. And then the UpCoach bit is what I like to call the "and now what" bit. And what you're talking about, David, is, okay, that's all lovely, but what is your now what fantasy? Because your now what fantasy could be, right, well, the people you've helped are going to change the world. John Paul works with social impact organizations. So as long as he's working with social impact organizations who are then doing good in the world, the now what, the thing that turns him on, is actually happening. But the now what bit can be much more self-referential, and that doesn't mean narcissistic or selfish or solipsistic. There needs to be a now what, which is the loop that David's talking about, and the potential that UpCoach, I think, has, from what I understand, is for you to sort of systematize the now what. So let's take Mostyn. You might be super happy in that where you've got to is delivering one-to-one work, because you feel it really does encapsulate the best version of your coaching approach with the right people in the best way, that you're pricing in a way that meets your needs and means you're not burning out. So it's fabulous. But the question is, what's the now what bit? Are you happy with those people are in companies and now they're doing good and making changes that you'll die feeling happy about? And what's the now what bit that allows you, as David says, to kind of capitalize on their experience, and is a clear invitation to them to cheerlead what you do, point others in your direction. I can't remember what David's 3 things were, but the last one's cheerlead. I can't remember what they are, David. What are those 3 levels that you just there? I should have written them down. You're muted. Anyone remember? Sorry.
It's after the purchase is like supporting people, like giving them the proper support, I guess, transforming them, then pushing them that they stay loyal, that they stay with you and continuously stay with you, and then advocacy. For example, in your case, Mostyn, like if you work with a leader in an organization that he says like, hey, I want the people that report to me, that whatever the marketing team or these and that people, that they also, that we do a cohort of them kind of going through that program, 8-week program, whatever, then I guess it's a easy way, because you already have to trust you inside of the business, and then kind of like jumping from land and expand. You have like this leader, and then they can be your advocates, and you sell inside of the business to others.
Exactly. And like just building on that with Mostyn as an example, Paul Mostyn. So yeah, sort of you do the one-to-one work, but what would you build in an ideal universe if you had all the money and time that would further support, like in between the sessions that you're having with people, or once you've stopped working with them? Like, what would be your fantasy about that? And then, sort of how would you create repeat business with those individuals if that's what you like? How do you know if that's what you want? Or do you actively not want to work with the same people again because you like fresh blood? You get bored quickly, like 10 sessions is enough, but getting clarity on that. Do I want the same people for 10 years? Or do I actively never want to work with them again, but want to make sure, as David says, that advocacy is a really important part of the design, because I want to rely on those people then feeding me more people, because I understand that my appetite is new people all the time. I'm wondering what your thoughts are, Mostyn.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful. So the way that I'm thinking about this is, I think I've got 2 markets, and I'm only delivering to the one market at the moment, which is the one that we've talked about in terms of the one-on-one coaching to senior people in companies. my medium-term plan is to have a product that is a much lower price point that more junior people can either buy themselves, so not something that's purchased by their company for them, but something that somebody is buying for themselves, so a price point in the hundreds of dollars instead of in the thousands of dollars, and the possibility that companies might actually buy large units of that for lots and lots of people in their organizations. So to me, the productization of what I do is more for that second market that I'm not yet doing. I think the way that the first market helps with that is you've actually got a premium product, which is if you want to work with me one-on-one, it's really expensive and most people can't afford that, but some companies will pay for that for their senior people. Fine. If you want access to some of the same things, it's obviously different because it's not one-on-one coaching, but if you want some access to me, some of the tools and methods that I use, but use it on a, sort of a broader basis, then there's this product that people can buy, which I'm planning for that to be either interesting, thinking about how I deliver that and David's experience in terms of the cohort versus not having a cohort. So actually just having a digital download product that people can download and do in their own time, fine. And I'm thinking that that's going to be part of it. But then you have a more premium version, which is the cohort base. So you get some live interaction with me as well. And that to me is, that's, I guess, somewhere in between the really premium one-on-one stuff and the, I guess, the self-serve digital delivery only, no involvement from me. That's how I'm thinking about it. I'm not entirely clear, Francis, how the first bit could potentially act as advocates for this second market. I haven't got that clear. I think it gives me credibility as a coach, and that's the main way I'm thinking about that at the moment.
Well, I look forward to the offline conversation about that, where we help you with that. But for the time being, and we're getting to time, I'm going to invite Simon to just quickly encapsulate what Mostyn's just said on the flip chart, because Simon's got a fabulous visual way of explaining what it is that you're thinking about, Mostyn, which many coaches in the UpCoach community and Better Bolder Braver community will be thinking about as well. And then what we'll do is let you know where you can find us after this. Oh, somebody's not muted and I just heard some fun stuff. Sorry. So yeah, what we'll do is let you know where you can find us, because often what these workshops do is just unravel loads of thoughts. So we are, part of our design in building a community is that we're there to meet you wherever you are after the workshop, where you've got some questions and you can follow us on LinkedIn and all the rest of it, and we'll help you from there. But for now, Simon, would you be so kind as to visualize Mostyn's thing there?
Yeah, I think, Mostyn, what you've hit upon there is an interesting concept of thinking about where different clients are and where the sort of product ecosystem fits together. So if we think of time on one axis and money on the other axis, essentially people either have not much time, but they do have the money to spare, or they have a lot of time, they don't have much money. And I know that's the two sort of polar opposite ends, but if we think of those two as the kind of like either side of the container, they're the extremes, people sit somewhere in between. So exactly what you were saying, Mostyn, is at this end, where people have a lot of time but they don't have much money, they're not being there all the time in a one-to-one capacity is what you want. So this is where a course or a book is really good. So the book is the ultimate time and no money, because for £12, £15, you can sell someone a book. You might like to up that a little bit for the course. You could give someone a little taster course, get them started. Now, then as we sort of move towards this middle section where people do have some money to invest, but they don't necessarily have a lot of time, that's where you might find cohort. or group coaching works really well, because you don't have to put as much time in, but they also do get some contact with you. And as David said, it can still be a really rewarding process. So it doesn't necessarily need to be lower down on the money. It's just, it fits quite neatly in that kind of halfway house. And then of course, at this end, which is where people have more time, more money, but not much time, they just need to pay to get it done, and they can put money towards the getting to where they want to be. Now, you can move those up and down on that scale, of course, wherever you need to. But I think if we look at how most people attribute value to what they're getting, this is maybe from a client expectation side of things, as opposed to a kind of time versus money charging system, if you see what I mean. But I think it really does highlight what you're saying, Mostyn, which is this kind of, if you can give something to someone that's really going to help them, but it does require them to put the time in, then that's great, because some people will, you know, buy the book, read the first third of it and be like, this sounds great, but I do not have time to finish this book. I just need to speak to Mostyn. I just need to get this done. You know, this has got me thinking exactly what I need to think in order to start the coaching. So I think, and then you can obviously then say, well, actually now, if you've enjoyed this free video course or this, let's say, you know, low price point video course, actually, if you want to dive deeper, I'm running a group program. It starts in so and so, it's a cohort. We're going to work, you know what I mean? All of these different things. And of course, this is obviously what UpCoach helps you design and deliver all of this. So yeah, normally people ask us lots of technical questions about how do I get people from there to there, but we don't need to worry about this on this webinar because the answer is right here. So yes, that is that's where that fits in.
Thanks, Simon. There are a couple of people who've just joined, I think possibly because they might have been a bit confused, or we've confused them, or somebody's confused them about the timing of this thing. But welcome and goodbye, because it's now the end of the workshop. I think, Anya, if you could kindly direct people to where they can find the recording, that would be fabulous.
Of course.
So you can find Simon and myself on LinkedIn. We love to hang out there most. And you can also find us being a bit silly on Instagram sometimes. We don't personally like the Facebook and Twitter party, although we had a really interesting discussion in the community this morning all about threads, if anyone's interested. And we've got loads of free stuff which you can spend your time and no money digesting, such as our blog. We've got a podcast. You'll find it in all the usual places, but there's links to it at the bottom of our website. And if you're really
Put the links in the chat as well.
Thank you. If you're really keen, any friend of David's is a friend of ours, so you're more than welcome to join Simon and me and John Paul and Peter and Jill and Nina in the Better Bolder Braver community. We hope to see some of you there. And we hope you've all had a nice time. Let us know if you have, and if you haven't, that's useful as well. And yeah, thank you, David. we'll let you sum up here. Thanks so much for having us again. It's really nice to have collaborated with you in this way again.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for sharing so many insights, Simon and friends, and also all the coaches here that shared about their business. It's always great to always take like nuggets away from here or there. What Freds and Simon are doing, this like really just scratched, or it's the tip of the iceberg. They have really amazing content. If you want to figure out your marketing path as a coach, you can really figure out what is your style, really. As Fran said in the beginning, for me, video comes natural to me. It's very easy. I do not enjoy writing posts or whatever. Now with AI, it becomes much easier. You take the transcript of the video and then you kind of create a post from it. But it's just kind of figuring out what comes natural to you is really helpful. So do yourself a favor, join the community. It's very low cost and high value. So yeah, I hope I see you over there.
Oh yeah, David.
And
you're in our community, of course.
Excellent. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks a lot. Really helpful.
yes, bye.